Let's talk Joshua ZIRKZEE. Let's talk unfair treatment of a player that is just finding his feet at Manchester United. Possible help in January for Manchester United's goal-scoring problems. We'll get into detail on that as well and why we're not scoring goals. We touched on Bruno Fernandez earlier on today. People still piling in on that situation. But are we too quick to judge certain players? And is it the system that's failing these players? How we fit them in and make them work also. Looking back on the week and the week ahead as well, I want to get your comments in. It is a Sunday night show, a little bit later than normal because City have been playing and scraping an absolute point out of Arsenal. Oh my God, you're devastated as an Arsenal fan right now. And that's getting a draw at the Etihad as well. Good result for United though. Let's just see how that pans out now and how it affects both of them sides. But more importantly, pressing matters are Manchester United and where we go from this weekend's game at Crystal Palace, which wasn't ideal for the situation that we're in right now, and it kind of has put a real dampener on the weekend with a lot of United fans. It's Forever United TV. It is Sunday. It is the evening. We're looking ahead to a new week. We're trying to put what's happened behind us and look forward to another busy week and no room or time to rest for Manchester United. It's on with the games and 3 days away from an important game at Old Trafford against FC 20. Give this video a like and please do hit that subscribe button to make sure you miss nothing Manchester United content-wise. Completely free content as well. Please make sure you've subscribed and hit that bell notification. It is massively important. It helps the channel grow and obviously helps us bring you better content as we go on. Obviously, you've seen the new look studio. We are going to enhance that as we go forward. Thank you everybody for the comments over the weekend after launching it this weekend. It has been a big week in trying to get everything ready. We wanted to bring you a different look and we're doing that now. So let's get into the show and let's get your comments more importantly because it is the Sunday show and we do full interactive mode on the Sunday. And keep your comments coming in about the studio as well and everything else and all of the look. Let's get into everything that's going on. First of all, tonight I want to talk about Joshua ZIRKZEE and what seems to be the unfair criticism that the poor lad is getting. He's 23. He's just joined Manchester United. He's joined as not so much of a prolific striker. Only, 12 goals for Bologna last season. We knew what we were getting. But is it just that the need for goals and improvement on the pitch and the desperation for the fan base to actually cling on to any positive that's possible out there that we're overlooking what Joshua ZIRKZEE is really bringing? I've seen relevant tweets going out all day with people talking about Joshua ZIRKZEE should be getting at least a hat-trick of assists in that game today, but for poor finishing from his Manchester United teammates. It is at the moment a bit of a disaster class in front of goal for Manchester United. But are we jumping onto the back of Joshua ZIRKZEE too quickly? That's the problem I feel like this fan base has got. And that's the problem I feel like Manchester United players have got. There's no room for error right now. We've already got to a stage under Ten Hag where everybody needs to be hitting their straps and needs to be playing well. We've seen the pile-on Bruno Fernandez already. We've seen what people are saying now about his decision to drop Marcus Rashford. And now Joshua ZIRKZEE in at the deep end. And it's really not his fault. He is different. He's a different type of player. Me and Jay spoke last night on the show on why Joshua ZIRKZEE is not going to be your prolific 30-goal season goal scorer, striker, whatever you want him to be in that front line. I do believe that Joshua ZIRKZEE also runs alongside the issue, which is Bruno Fernandez. I think Bruno Fernandez, Joshua ZIRKZEE, I feel like that right now is an issue that can be solved within itself. I feel like that is where Manchester United are at. Joshua ZIRKZEE, I feel, is a replacement for Bruno Fernandez. That's how I see it. Manchester United looking forward, I feel like that is reasonable as well. I think that looking at where Joshua ZIRKZEE plays, he's pretty much stood on top of Bruno Fernandez yesterday. And I don't know what the method was or what the play was. We discussed it earlier on in the way that we dissected Bruno Fernandez's game. But I feel like Joshua ZIRKZEE is happy to just come off the front. He's not a number 9. He talked about it in the international break with where he wants to be and where he sees himself at Manchester United as a number 1 striker. I just don't think he is that player. He really, at 23, you're not. He has got qualities that United really can tap into and use. I feel like he has, and he can bring us something completely different at Manchester United this season, but it's not scoring goals. I don't think we should be expecting him to score goals, and that brings up the obvious debate and the obvious conversation with United fans across the world, which is, why are we spending so much money on a striker that we know is not going to bring us the goals that we need? Are we looking to play a different way? Because this guy's not going to score goals. He's going to bring you something else. He's going to bring you link-up play, hold-up play. He is like the old Mark Hughes style player. Not obviously Hughes, he didn't have that side of skill. But Mark Hughes was never prolific for Manchester United. He never got you loads of goals. He'd bag in with about 15 in a season at max. But he did a lot more work for the team than just scoring goals. And I think ZIRKZEE is that. The problem that United have got is he's buying ZIRKZEE is fine. But the bigger issue was actually that poacher, that goal scorer, and the player that Manchester United have been craving, the Harry Kane that we didn't buy. And we're putting our hopes onto a striker like Rasmus Højlund now, instead of getting that out-and-out goal scorer. It's just, is it a bit too much in what United have done? Or do we need to be patient as a fan base and actually say, look, let's just let ZIRKZEE and Højlund grow and come of age? I don't think we can be patient. I don't think Ten Hag can be patient anyway, because he needs these players to hit their mark and hit goals. Otherwise, he's going to be out of a job. At the moment, I look at ZIRKZEE and I say he is a player that isn't so much lost, has shown real qualities in games and has adapted really well. And yesterday, like we said, then he should have had a hat-trick of assists if we were actually hitting the mark and scoring the goals that we should be scoring. But for a brilliant performance from Dean Henderson. But I think it's all too easy that United fans are looking for that scapegoat, and it comes on the side of fans pushing down on what Manchester United have done in the transfer window in not getting the right striker, and then looking to jump onto any opportunity that they can get to actually go in on a player that really doesn't deserve it. And I feel like if you were to say to me right now that this is the plan going forward, he is going to be that number 10 link-up player that's going to help the wingers come into the game and help that number 9 and take players away and pressure off that 9, spread it out to the wingers, in it goes into the box, into the number 9, bang, there's your goals. I can see a method in that, I can. But I just know that it's not that. And it is a little bit... It's a bit strange. And Ten Hag wanted ZIRKZEE this summer. He made constant phone calls. We covered it all summer. Constantly in communication with him, wanting him to come to the club, and obviously made him his first signing of the summer. And that was Manchester United's only real forward signing. And he isn't bringing you the goals. He's bringing you something different. And that, I feel, is where United fans need to separate their sort of expectations of ZIRKZEE to the reality of what the type of player he is. It's not his fault he's been brought into United. It's United's fault that we can't utilise him properly. And we've got players playing on top of each other. I mean, how many number 10s does one club need? How many times have we spoke about how many players we got that play in the same position? It's absolutely crazy. And I feel like we are going down an endless road of not being able to create the right amount of chances and not being able to score the right amount of goals. And the players are the ones that are going to be used in all of this. And I feel like that's where we're at right now, because everyone's hoping for Ten Hag to make it. Everyone's praying that he does something so we don't have to talk about the manager situation. But again, the reality is, not talking about Ten Hag and not blaming Ten Hag and saying that he's doing everything right, he's then putting pressure on the players, and it's unfair pressure on the likes of ZIRKZEE. Yes, go in on Bruno. Yes, go in on Rashford. Go in on all the senior players that have been there for ages. But you don't go in on a player, 23, first time in the Premier League, hasn't played anywhere else apart from a bit of time in Germany for the youth team at Bayern Munich, and then obviously making his breakthrough season last year in Serie A for Bologna. You don't go in on that player in his first few games. And I feel like he has performed quite well. He's done a decent job. And I just want United to figure out how they're going to use it. How is Ten Hag going to get the best out of Joshua ZIRKZEE? That's what we need to look at. And I feel like that's the key question, not what Joshua ZIRKZEE's qualities are. He should just be in at number 10 right now instead of Bruno. And Bruno might learn a thing or two sat on the bench watching him. That's what you've got to look at, I feel. Let's get into a few super chats and members coming in. Tom Porter has just donated a membership. That's gone to Bexy. Neil Crowd has hit up with a super chat. He is a luxury signing, needed, proven a goal scorer. Pretty much what I was saying there just then. Modern Samurai has dropped another 5 memberships in the house. Thank you so much, mate. Absolutely love that. They have gone to Stu. They've gone to... what's we got? UK Strange, they've gone to Carlos, and they got to Ramo and Trilliano. Thank you very much, Modern Samurai, you absolute legend. Trevor Wade has just renewed his membership. Also, ZIRKZEE is getting opportunities. I'd be more worried if he wasn't creating or getting them chances. Some world-class saves also has denied him scoring. Very true. That is also a good point. He's getting there, he's getting the chances, but we need them to go in the back of the net. That's what we're looking for right now. Please give the video a like. Well over 300 in the room. Only 75 likes right now. Get them up, everyone. Thank you so much. Share the video as well. Let's get more people interacting on it. Anthony Wisdom says, thankfully, we're starting to create more chances and defending so much better. We just need to be clinical in front of goal and start converting them chances. Yes, we do, Anthony. Very good point. Manchester United have missed more clear-cut chances than anybody else this season. I think 17 clear-cut chances Manchester United have missed. It's absolutely crazy how wasteful Manchester United are in front of goal. It's just mind-blowing. It is like nobody misses anywhere near. I think the closest team to us was about 9. I think United won about 17. You just cannot figure it out. You don't know where Manchester United are going with it. And eventually you would think that the chances are going to start being put away. They have to be, don't they? They have to be. Have to be patient, at least in the short term. The squad/fans have been starved for quality for so long, and that anyone that comes in is expected to perform. True. And at the highest level right away, but not always. No, it's not. It can't be. Wow, that's quite a statistic. It is, Aaron. It's mental how many we've missed. And you can remember them. Like, you can go through the games and the chances that we have blundered, and they would have impacted the games massively. Well, at least City and Arsenal drew, says Lee Allen. Yeah, at least they didn't move too far ahead of us, eh? Modern Samurai in the chat again with another comment says, I think Erik ten Hag makes them pass too much, and the problem is by the time we get into the attacking third, everything closed down and we have no opportunity to exploit it. Yes, I feel that. I get it. It is that situation. It does seem to be lethargic, slow passing coming in, and it does seem to be that it takes an age to get into that position, whereas when we're cutthroat and we move the ball quick, like Dalot into Garnacho yesterday, bang off the bar, like ZIRKZEE in his moments where he's just laying it off the players and looking out for the likes of Bruno Fernandez and Garnacho and Ahmad. His link-up play is superb. And I think that's what we need to remember with Joshua ZIRKZEE. I think he is getting unfairly criticised, and I do believe that this fan base, like the comment just said there then, is starved of goals, starved of quality football, and are clinging on to absolutely anything that we possibly can to try and convince us that we're going in the right direction right now. We're still the same. We're not moving anywhere. All we've done is just press the go faster button on the treadmill, and we're running harder, and it looks like we're doing better, but really we're still looking at the 4 same walls around us and not going anywhere. And unfortunately, that is because these players are suppressed within this system, and it just does not suit them. It doesn't work. And he keeps changing it. All of a sudden, Eriksen has come on the scene. And that's come out of the blue, completely out of the blue, because we can't even say that it's because of what he was doing international duty, because he was playing in the front three on the left-hand side on international duty and doing well for Denmark there. So Bruno to put him in, Ten Hag to put him in at that holding midfield role, then yeah, well, that does actually look like it's, I don't know, is it, that's not so much desperate. I don't want to use the word desperate, but it's another chance, isn't it? He's just taking another risk and trying to do something different, I think, Ten Hag. And that's the problem within itself. And I just look at it and go, oh, God, surely with what you've brought in, Eriksen was wanting to be, and everybody was talking about Eriksen leaving this summer. And now we're talking about Eriksen being our best player again. How does that come about? It just shouts out uncertainty within, I feel, more than anything. In terms of United's goals, we have been linked again to Jonathan David in the January transfer window because he is going to be a free agent at the end of this season. And it has been brought up, and the apparent price tag in January, if you are looking to take a punt on a striker that is going to get you goals, that is going to score goals, or has got a track record of doing so, and United don't like to buy in January, and I don't think it will happen. But we have been linked again to Jonathan David from Lille, a striker that does know where the back of the net is, that does play that number 9 role and can press. But again, I think if we go out in January and try and find a forward, I think it cries out what I just said then and what I described then as a little bit desperate. And it isn't Manchester United, I don't think. It's not how we worked even under just the Glazers in the January transfer window. It's not right. I don't think. And I don't think it's going to help us in the situation right now because we haven't had a chance to run out. Do you know what? When you talk about it and you say, and I'm saying right now, like we haven't seen Højlund and ZIRKZEE play together. We haven't seen a combination of Mount playing in at 10 with maybe Højlund in there. Maybe ZIRKZEE can operate from one of the wider areas. I do like him in the middle because he's strong and he can hold the ball up. And I think he's the best in our team at doing that in that forward line. So that's where I want to see him playing. I do see him as a natural replacement for Bruno Fernandez right now. And I think we just need to start. I think we need to start balancing Bruno Fernandez's game time. I do. I feel like Bruno can come in here and there, but Bruno doesn't need to be playing 60 games this season. If Bruno plays 40 games, I think you can see the natural transition from Bruno being the one player that needed to be in this side to then being and now being that one player that Manchester United are trying to move on and sort of wean out of the side. I'm not saying that in any bad way. I still think Bruno Fernandez is a great player and he will play his part for Manchester United this season, but you do start needing to look past Bruno Fernandez. And I think United have the perfect opportunity with ZIRKZEE. I think he falls into it ideally. I would love to see how he works alongside Rasmus Højlund next. But in terms of going for a striker, the links with David are just constantly going to be there. The main report coming from that is that Juventus will probably end up buying or getting Jonathan David on a free. They buy everyone on a free. They are the free transfer masters. Let's just say that. Let's get back into the comments. We've got Carol, who has just renewed her 9-month membership. What a legend. Have you been banished to the dark cellar? No, Carol, you've missed out. We have got an updated studio. I hope you all like the studio. I'm really chuffed with it. Put a lot of work in, actually, to getting it all set up. And I am actually happy with it. We've got more improvements coming in. And we are going to add to it bit by bit and make it even better as we go along. But yes, we are upping our game and changing things up again. And the green screen is no more. Let's just say that. You got Raws with another super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, trying to be patient and wait for the strikers in them academy in the academy to come through. I love all the players that they are getting. Yeah, it's patience which is really going to be tested by week in, week out, falling away from competing at the highest level. And right now, when you look at the league table, what are we away from the top four? What are we, about 5 points away, I think it is, already? It's not good. It's not good for Manchester United already after 5 games. And again, it heaps pressure onto the next couple of Premier League games, next few Premier League games, in fact. And these players needing to score these goals. We are going to have to definitely be bagging more goals and taking chances. Ten Hag in his press conference after the game said, look, the goals will come, the points will come, the wins will come. But we can't ignore what's just happened, which is the first 5 games and Ten Hag's worst start to a season. We can't ignore that. Having had another 200 million spent on players at the right prices and be where we are in the bottom half of the table, we can't ignore that. I don't want to be on beating the old Ten Hag drum again. And you know, I'm trying to be honest with it, but I don't want to be in the bottom half of the table. How patient can we be? How patient can the fan base be? How many excuses can we make for our own team and our own players and performance? How many more times can we be Banter FC? It's like we're giving it the big one and we're talking about players that can change United. And we all know that this squad can make top 4. But while you're languishing down in the bottom half of the table, while everyone else is above you, and everyone who finished above you last season is already starting to move away, you cannot ignore that. And I think Ten Hag forgets that sometime. And that's his biggest downfall, I feel, for me. That he wants to forget about everything bad that's happened. And there's good in that. There is, looking at the positives and trying to keep the morale up within the squad. I get it all, I do. But we all know what we're watching. And we all know what the table says. The table never lies. It's the age-old saying, isn't it? The table does not lie. United being 11th after 5 games, it can change very quickly, yes, with a couple of wins. But still, like 5 games in, if it's another 5 games and it's not improved as much, then you start to really hit the panic button, don't you? Like, this is not going to change. How long do we prolong this pain? How long do we just ignore the inevitable? which is a change that needs to happen. I hope he turns it around. Personally, I do. Honestly, a lot of people have a go at me for having a go at Ten Hag constantly and saying it's all his fault. It's not all his fault. It's not. Some of these players really do need to be held accountable. And yesterday was good football for the main. It was. It was a pleasure to watch. And I'll say that. And I said it yesterday. But again, the manager has a plan and it works. And it works to a certain level that gets you to 7th and 8th in the league. Because if you don't score first, and you're never going to score first every single game, if you don't get that first goal, then you have to accept that we're creating chances but not putting them away, and the points don't matter. No, the league position is the be-all and end-all, and you cannot be bottom half of the table if you're Manchester United. The rest of the world is looking in, and we're talking about, oh, it will come. It will get better. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. We cannot sit here doing that. It has to change. He has to be bold, Ten Hag. And if these players are not working for him, his senior players that is, and I'm talking Bruno specifically, I'm not going to hide away from it. If, in fact, Bruno is that player that isn't playing well and is a problem for Manchester United within this system that you want to play, then you have to have the balls to make the call and drop Bruno to the bench and let someone else have a go in that position and see how it goes. Just try it out, for God's sake. It can't hurt, can it? And then the likes of Rashford, like everybody knows, when Rashford's on fire, you can't drop him. Why drop Rashford when you've persisted with him while he's been so shit? It just goes against everything that Ten Hag was saying. Now he's scored, he'll keep on scoring, you watch. And then you take him out the side. I was like, I just don't get some of his decisions sometimes. And then when he starts talking, you're like, you're still not convincing me, Eric. I understand. We all watched the same game. And thankfully, Ten Hag was quite honest in his press conference yesterday. And he said, look, we have to take them chances. Otherwise, you will get punished. And it's that old word again. It's the plan. It's the process. How long does it go on for before it starts to get too much and you're too far behind? Because the plan and the process cannot keep going season in, season out. Because if the players don't get into the Champions League this season, does that not then demoralise them? And then they're going to go start again. It's the plan. It's the process. And if the same players are playing and it's not working, where are the rest of the squad going to come in and actually feel like they are part of the plan and the process? And he's still in the same spot in the league, not moving anywhere. Manchester United, how long have we been on negative goal difference or level goal difference? When was the last time United were in the plus for goals scored? You can't ignore what's in front of you. Numbers don't lie. The important ones are the ones in the top left-hand corner of your screen every single game day, which tells you the score. The important ones are the ones that say how many wins you've had and how many points you've got in the league table. Not how much your XG is. Not how many chances you've missed. Not your possession. It counts for nothing when it comes to the league table. And I feel like it going back into the Joshua ZIRKZEE side of things, that because of that, we're looking at this and going, oh, what can Ten Hag do? Like, he's put Joshua ZIRKZEE and he's spent this money, he's trusted him and he's letting him down. We're not scoring the goals. We've bought a player that just doesn't score goals. What are Ineos doing? You get all of that coming in all of a sudden. And it's just, it's wrong. It is wrong at the end of the day. It's not Joshua ZIRKZEE's fault. Bruno Fernandez can take that stick and ride it out. He knows he's going to have to because he's playing absolutely shit at the moment. And he's not doing enough for this team. There's a compilation going around on X of Bruno Fernandez within the space of 20 seconds trying 3 ridiculous passes and losing the ball every single time. And it's like all of the comments are like, this just sums Bruno Fernandez up. It's hard to argue against it. And he will know this. He's professional enough to dust himself off and come back. I personally just think he should be dusting himself off and taking a seat on the bench. And then just watching it out and resting out. And sometimes you can just try too hard. Sometimes you just have to walk away. I'll just take a step back and go, right, let's just reset. Let's just get everything right again and go again. That's what's important, I feel. And I think Bruno Fernandez, he's in that position right now, I feel. And I think he will still play a big part for Manchester United this season. It's up to Ten Hag to manage it, though, I feel, more than anything else. Let's get into your comments on everything that I've just said there. I mean, in terms of anyone coming in, I personally don't think it's right. I mean, what do you think? Let's get into some of them. Jonathan Borg, Adam, our problem is the players are not coached to play a system, so we rely on our creative players. System was working all right for a part yesterday, but we didn't score. But then we do revert back. I do get that comment, and I think I was touching on it earlier on as well. We do revert back to that, waiting for our big players and creative players to do something. Michael Phillips says, Adam, I don't know if it makes sense, but I think he left Rashford out because he knew it would be a difficult game, and we all know most fans' opinions about Rashford. He would have got the blame because he's on 300 grand a week. If that's how you're going to look at it, Michael, then he should be out of the squad completely and not at Manchester United. You cannot look at that. If Ten Hag does look at that, I don't think he did, by the way. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the comment either, Michael. Thanks for that. But if you're looking at it that way, then he doesn't belong at Manchester United. Every single game's a difficult game. If you're looking at a game and leaving a player out because you're scared that you might lose and you're scared that that player then might get all of the criticism, then, sorry, that's not a United player. It's as simple as that for me. We aren't, but people need to get their expectations in check. Some act like we should win every game with maybe the 5th or 6th best team. Does that mean we are the 5th or 6th best team or something like that? Look, at the end of the day, we should be beating Palace. We should be beating Southampton, Barnsley. These games, Manchester United should have won all of them. We haven't. We've got 2 wins from the 3. It could have been more yesterday. We just didn't take our chances like we discussed, and we're talking about it in this way right now. But the games that United should be winning, with the money we've spent, the players we've got, and the amount of time that it's taken to actually get anywhere near performing, you can understand why the club are not happy right now and why the fans are not happy with the results. It needs to be better. It does. Richie says, our number 9, 20 goals per Premier League season is needed. Højlund isn't that player. ZIRKZEE should bench Bruno. A lot of people agreeing on that one. I have got a poll going in the chat as well. Do you feel ZIRKZEE is getting unfair critique right now? 84% of you have said yes. Actually, 16% of you feel like it's not unfair and it is just. Please do comment on that as well if you've got that or you feel that way. Ten Hag can win one-off games, but he can't get no consistency over a 38-game season. It's always up and down. Up and down is not good enough, and that's why we are where we are in the league. And that's the point I was making about what we have to look at and what we have to home in on, really, which is, look, the table doesn't lie. One game here and there and little spells here and there is just not good enough for Manchester United and the money that's now being ploughed in. And I feel like Ineos will get to that stage where they will just get rid of him. The question is now, how long are they going to give him to work out this system? And we've said it all along. He needs to figure out what his best team is and what his best side is and then work from there. And the fact that he doesn't know what his best side is, and it's quite clear in his selections he doesn't for me, then that's concerning. He spent most of Manchester United's budget on a midfielder who he just won't start and has had available now for him for the first week. He will come in, Ugarte. He will come in, and I think he will be a mainstay for Manchester United. I just would have thought Ten Hag would have wanted to get the most out of him, because the longer he doesn't play him, the less he's going to get to see of all of this. He's sort of talking like he's got a million years in the bank with United. Not so much a million, but you know what I mean. It's like he's got a prolonged period of time in charge here. It doesn't matter what he does. He will see all of these young kids come through. He will see the full progression of everyone that he's brought. He's not. He's already forgetting about players that he's brought in at the football club. It's because he just doesn't know. He doesn't know. Either the players are just not on board with the system and what happens when things go wrong, or the players are just not good enough. Which one is it? Which one is it? That's the question. That's why I brought up ZIRKZEE at the start of the show, because ZIRKZEE, I feel, is a good player in a certain system. Right now with this one, playing him as a number 9, I don't think it's working. I just don't see it. I've seen that sort of, he isn't very quick. He doesn't turn very fast. If his back to goal is brilliant. He is getting sharper and he needs time to adapt to Manchester United's game and the Premier League. But I still feel like he is a player that isn't going to run in behind and we don't cross the ball. So what's the point in him? That's what it all comes down to for me. What is the point of ZIRKZEE? Why did we buy him if he's not going to go in at number 10 where it looks like he is more comfortable? Again, it goes that, and that leads into the Mason Mount question. Why did you buy Mount when you've got Bruno? Why did you buy ZIRKZEE when you've got Bruno? We know that Højlund is probably going to be the main striker. And if you want a prolific goal scorer and you want a striker to score 20 plus goals in a season, you know that that player has to be playing week in, week out. It is proven within Premier League history that players that play week in, week out are the ones that get you all of the goals. The start, coming in, play a couple of games, then get left out or put on the bench, it doesn't work. You need to build up confidence. And it just baffled me yesterday. And I remember my first tweet yesterday when I heard the team news, and it was, I can't believe he's resting Rashford but not resting Eriksen. And look, I said yesterday, I'm happy with Eriksen's performance. I thought he was our best player. But it just didn't make sense how he dropped Rashford. It didn't. I would have loved to have seen, just out of curiosity, what it would have been like if Rashford played with Ahmad and Garnacho and ZIRKZEE was there at number 10. And if he was convinced that he was going to play 2 10s at least, which he pretty much did, and we did the high press, then you could have still put Bruno in there. You probably could have rested Kobbie Mainoo. And this is where I thought maybe he would have rested Eriksen and played, maybe he could have played Bruno further back. Maybe he could have played Kobbie Mainoo there. Maybe he could have brought Agate or Casemiro back in. Because that game was crying out for a ball just over the top with the way that Palace were playing into them forwards yesterday. But we tried to squeeze it through the eye of a needle too many times, and it didn't work out for us. But still, you look at everything that Ten Hag has tried to put into this team. You can see elements there. You can see little bits working here and there, but it's here and there. It's not consistent. It's 1 week on, 1 week off. You're constantly banging your head against the wall. It's like, come on, surely it's going to click sooner or later. But how long can you wait for it to click? That's the problem. I'm looking ahead to this week. Now, you've got FC20 on Wednesday. In terms of that team and what Manchester United are playing, I think it will be a stronger team than what he played. In terms of how many changes, I think Anana will be in goal. I don't think we're going to see Bayende. I think we'll get... The back four may get a bit of a shakedown, maybe. I don't think he's going to change the fullbacks. I think Wednesday and then playing on the Sunday, it's enough rest time, I feel. I'm just looking at it because the following week is Porto, isn't it? And that is a tough game. United really have to balance this squad out now. And I think playing time is key. You do not play, I don't feel, Bruno Fernandez. If you're going to be playing Bruno, then you don't play him against 20. It's a great opportunity to go up a level from what Barnsley were and try leaving Bruno out and seeing how Manchester United operate without Bruno Fernandez in a game that's a little bit more difficult than what Barnsley is. Well, not a little bit, a lot more difficult. So a level up without Bruno Fernandez. And then that'll give you a good idea going into a Premier League game how well we cope without Bruno. And if the system does work without Bruno, I just think he's too scared to drop his captain. I always thought that Ten Hag, when he first came in, was never afraid to make big calls. The way he treated Rashford in that first season when he was late, how he handled Sancho, how he handled Ronaldo. I look at it, and yes, Bruno gives him everything that he's got. But sometimes you have to upset the apple cart and you have to drop a player. You have to drop a certain player to see if there's another way. And I think Bruno Fernandez is the answer to that, just to see. And I think ZIRKZEE should be the man that comes in to that position. Will we see the likes of Mason Mount? Maybe we could play Mount in an 8 against 20. I think he'll definitely rest Eriksen for that game. And then it's the big one on Sunday against Spurs. And leading up to that game all week, I'm going to know exactly where I'm at mind-wise, how it is. 20 will give us that tonic, I feel, going into the Spurs game at weekend. I think that will give us a sort of taster as to where this team is actually at and what we're doing. But going into that Spurs game, I can just feel myself how it's going to be now. And it's going to be a nervous build-up to that. We'll both have... Spurs... Yeah, Spurs will be playing in Europe. United will be playing in Europe. So it's level playing field. Both teams have a midweek game. I'm pretty certain Spurs are playing because they had their Carabao Cup game last week like us, and then you play a European game the week after. I'll have to double check Spurs' schedule, but it's interesting because we're already looking past FC20. I can feel myself looking past FC20 already, and I shouldn't. And we need to be taking them serious because that is Manchester United, and I feel Ten Hag's best hope for staying in a job and getting something out of the season for the club is the Europa League. We are a cup side, and that's been proven in every single Ten Hag season. The amount of finals, the amount of games where it's like, right, this is it. It's a cup game. Let's turn it on a little bit. We did it all the time in the last 2 years, and I feel like that's going to be the same again this season. You only have to look at the start, 7-0 against Barnsley. I think we'll have a good result against FC20 on Wednesday night. And then that should give us a little bit of momentum going into the Spurs game, but I'm looking at how Spurs played this weekend. I'm looking at how Solanke got his first goal and all of the sort of like how Spurs is turning it around after that Arsenal game last weekend and the weeks that both teams have had. Like if Spurs get a win in Europe and then come to United buoyant with the pressure that's on Postecoglou, yeah, you're looking at a very, very difficult game for Manchester United against Spurs. If we win that sets us up perfectly. It really does. And I think we need to make the most of Old Trafford this season. That's something else I've not touched on yet. We need to start winning and making Old Trafford that fortress. Please give the video a like, everybody. We're creeping up to the 200 live like mark. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this Sunday evening show. Get them likes in, please, everyone. Everyone in the chat right now, go, go, go. Glenn C has just renewed his membership. Thank you, Glenn. Looks like Spurs play Thursday. We play Wednesday. Thanks for that, mate. So we'll have an advantage on Spurs as well, having a game, a day more rest. We're playing at home as well. I'm not sure where Spurs are actually playing, if they're starting their Europa League at home or away. We'll have to double check that one as well. But yeah, that's a little advantage for Manchester United as well. So beat 20, get fully prepared. I want not so much wholesale changes, but at least 4 or 5 changes for the FC20 game. I think we need to see. Personally, I want to see Rashford, Garnacho, and Ahmad. Play them for an hour and then start making changes, I feel. And I would play ZIRKZEE as well. Let's give it a test. Let's see where we're at. We know we've got plenty of time and plenty of recovery time before the next game. I think we should be playing our strongest team that we can with the changes that we're going to make against FC20 and give them about an hour and go from there. And I think that's what we'll do. Hopefully we do that because I want to see different players again. I really do. But yeah, let's get into some more of your comments on this one. Stuart says, I think we can beat Spurs as long as he picks the correct 11. We can beat anyone as long as he picks the correct 11, I think. United Spotlight, we will go strong in Europe. It's his only way to the Champions League on current form. I have a feeling he might do it as well. Blame Ten Hag for a wrong replacement, as in the subs. A lot of people have gone in on the subs at weekend. I do get that. Anana Razmari, Delit, Martinez, Delo, Casemiro, Agate, ZIRKZEE, or Mainu, Diallo, Rashford, and Højlund is Michael's pick for Wednesday night, I think that is. Colin says, if you think ZIRKZEE and number 9, you know nothing about football. Ten Hag doesn't. You have Mount, Fernandez, ZIRKZEE playing for one position. Pretty much like I just said, Colin, to be honest. He isn't a number 9. Martinez isn't the same player since his injury issues. He needs competition for the left centre-back position. Let's hope Shaw provides that when he returns. I won't get your hopes up, Dill. Not with Luke Shaw, anyway. Spurs are at home to some pub team on Thursday. Right, so, yeah, they're going to be able to rest players as well. So, maybe not as big an advantage as we thought at first then. But still, you've got to be confident being at home playing Spurs. We've always had a good record there. Why are the subs being blamed? We should have been 4-0 up at half-time. We should have been. But Henderson had an absolute steamer. And we didn't take our other chances. And I think many people are blaming the subs. I've not particularly. I thought the subs put the white flag up in the game itself and where it was at. But the overall look on the game, you could argue that United should have been out of sight. That's definitely there. But still, the subs that he made completely killed the game off for United. Because Højlund wasn't ready, quite clear. And Rashford just wasn't up for it. He couldn't get in the game. So, really, it was disappointing that we weren't already in front. And them substitutes might have been the right ones and might have been what he was planning. Definitely, if he was winning, that would have been what he was planning anyway. But that is your Sunday night show, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. All super chats, new members, 6 new members again tonight. Thank you so much. Mods and members that were in the chat helping out with everybody. Thank you as well. Absolutely great show, everyone. Thanks. I will see you bright and early in the morning to kickstart a fresh week on Forever United TV. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I will see you then. Have a great rest of what's left of the weekend. Hope you didn't get too drenched today. And let's hope for some positive vibes going into the week ahead for our Manchester United as well. Have a good and see you later, everybody.